shows as filler, so I hate watching filler, and I hate writing filler, unless the filler is really fun. But like when I try and write books and shows and all that type of stuff and scripts all the time, and it's just really annoying because all I want to do is write the action. I don't want to write any of the character development. Like, I know the characters, but I just forget that everyone else doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and I should explain to them, like they're small children, what the hell's going on. Because the thing you don't realize is that when you're creating a new world and people don't have any references to your world, then you're kind of just like, well, then you kind of just, you have to paint the entire canvas for them. Even small little things, like, you know a character is a bad hand because they did something and when they were a child. If that's something to the story, if they have a bad hand because of something, put that in the story. Don't just say they have a bad hand. Like, everything has to have a reason in a movie. So if there's unnecessary violence, or unnecessary plot points, or unnecessary scenes, people are going to notice when it's really unnecessary, and they're going to be like, excuse me, what? If it's necessary to the plot, it needs a necessary explanation. So this might just be me giving writing tips, even though I've never had anything published, or at all. I just know what works, I just can't do it myself. That's what I tell people, is that I know how to make the perfect movie, and how to make the perfect script. I just can't do it myself, unfortunately. I'm too close-minded, and I can't actually, like, take it to heart, and I know I should, but I just don't, and I'm always like, I'll fix that in post, or I'll fix that in the next draft, but the next draft never comes. That's the thing, is that when you like this, the next draft just never comes, and it's just really, I don't know. Especially with magic systems. You got a magic system, you got to explain it. You can't just think that everyone will find out what it will be like after a certain period of time. This is a world that they're completely new to, and you have to tell them everything about that world. Its laws, its wants, its needs. You know, is the planet big? Is the planet small? How many people are on the planet? You know, what's on the planet? Who's on the planet? Why is there a planet? Who is planet? Let's take a really good movie that I like, and because you don't need to explain everything to the audience. In fact, you can have a great movie without explaining almost anything, and a great movie that shows this is Quiet Place. I love Quiet Place, because Quiet Place is a horror film / kind of thriller film. It's not really scary, but don't like it. I'm going to play Pac-Man. I don't know. Basically, Quiet Place is a film where you're dropped into a world, and that's it. You have to figure out what the hell's going on. Nothing is explained to you. There's not very much dialogue in this movie, because they're supposed to be quiet. The monsters can only hear by sound, so they have to communicate via... And it's just background clues that give you, like newspapers that say, oh, monsters came from above. But they're not so hidden that no one knows ever what's going on, and only the best of the best viewers know exactly what's going to happen. It's shown to you that, yeah, there are aliens. And that's another thing that everyone tells you, is that show, don't tell. And that is true for a lot of things. That it's better to show the audience than to tell them outright using dialogue. So you still need to explain it, but yet again, the monsters aren't explained. Where do they come from? Why are they here? Were they here by accident, or are they here on purpose? Are they a culling? Are they a farm? I don't know. It's never explained, and that's the beauty of it. But if you're making a film that doesn't need that, let's say you're making a superhero film, like I'm trying to, well, that's not exactly how it's going to work. There's going to be quite a lot of dialogue. Now, let's say your villain is an interesting character. Let's say your villain isn't an average villain. Well, you've got to explain why. He can't just be. No character can just be. There has to be a reason for that character. The father sacrifices himself not because he's hero, but because he's a father, and fathers have that instinct, and as the viewer, you subconsciously realize that the reason why he saved his son and daughter is because he's the father, not because he's the good guy. If this happened and he saved someone else, then yeah, kinda, it's like, oh, he's a good guy, okay. That's his whole character. But no, he's a father. Ooh. Why does the kid put the batteries in? Well, because he hasn't been taught properly, and he's in a world that he doesn't understand, that he doesn't want to understand, and that he's scared of all the goddamn time. because it's a world filled with monsters where you can't make any noise. And children love making noise. If you've ever had a child, you know they like making noise. I live with a smaller brother. He loves making noise. He doesn't want to go to bed. He wants to do this. He wants to do that. He wants to play. And if he was in a world where he had to be quiet, he'd be dead long ago. But that's basically just what The Quiet Place is. It's a film that has, it's an incredible film. I love The Quiet Place. It's like my favorite horror film. But I don't know. I think films that everyone finds bad, it's better to look at films and why they're bad than to look at films and why they're good. Because if you look at a good film, there are tons of stuff that you just never realize. You just subconsciously know, and you'll never actually write that bit down because you think, oh, that's obvious. But in the moment, you might actually include that because you're so overwhelmed, and you're like, okay, that's not obvious. So I'd say look at bad movies and figure out why they're bad, because it's much easier to figure out why something is bad than why something is good. Like, why is breathing good? Because we live. But why do we want to live? Well, no one really knows. So figure out stuff. Figure out who you want to be. And just figure out your film and your just booked and script and everything you want. And it's a complicated process. I know. It's very complicated, and that's why people say don't do it. But still, I like making stuff. I like making scripts and movies and games and all this kind of stuff. I'm working on a big game project. I'm not going to say what, but it is going to release at some point. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm not going to put a deadline on it. I'm not going to put anything on it. I'm still writing a book. I'm still writing a movie script. I'm still writing a bunch of stuff. I just can't handle one. And then there's something which I deal with, but I don't know if anyone else deals with. It's boredom. You get bored of your story. Now, this hasn't happened with my movie script. I just haven't had time. I just couldn't be bothered to figure it out. I quite like the story, but when I'm running a book, it very often happens that I've written hundreds of books, but I've never finished any of them because I get bored. I can't think of all of the different ways that I can move this, and books, I think, just, you need to take your time, and I'm not good with that kind of thing. I'm not good with taking your time, so I just feel kind of like, yeah, I'm bored of this. I'm bored of this certain world with this certain type of magic. I want something else. I want something cooler, and then I watch a YouTube video and I'm like, oh, I want to make a book on that, and then I do that, and then I realize I don't want to make a book on that. I just want to make a book in general. But I can't fixate on an idea. There isn't an idea strong enough to keep me interested for long enough that I make a full book. And that's a problem that I face. I don't know if you face it. If you do face it, then, well, yeah, you know what I mean. It's just that you get bored of your book. You get bored of your characters, of your story, and you just want to find something new and interesting. And a part of writing for me is that it's not just trying to give people others experience. I think writing for me is having the experience, because I have character twists and the stuff that I don't even know is going to happen. Because if you're trying to get into writing and you think all the writers know exactly what's going to happen, they don't. All good writers write the book and figure out what's happening along the way. Of course, they clean it up afterwards and they do different things, but it's when they first write that first draft, they don't know what's going to happen. They just write, they just let their soul pour out onto the page, and eventually they get something, and that's what I do. I've had entire, like, chapters, like, twists built up that I didn't even realize I was building up, but I subconsciously put little hints in, and when I finally wrote down that twist, I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then I looked back at the book and I read it all back, and I was like, that actually does make sense. And I realized that subconsciously I'd created this twist that even I was shocked by, like I was reading the book, even though I was the one writing it. So that's an interesting part of writing books, is that don't expect that you'll know everything. There will be twists and turns that you won't even see coming. Yes, you, the creator, the writer, the birthing person of this story, there might be a twist. The bad guy might be the brother's son, or he might be the person that died at the beginning of the book the whole time, and you won't know it. So it'll be just as an experience for you as it will be for the reader, if not more, because you've had to spend more time and more effort into this book than they had to read it. So yes, I definitely think if you want to write a book, write a book. If you don't, don't. But I just want to say that writing a book, I don't know, it's a beautiful, I like it. I like it just because it gives me, it just brings you on a journey. Basically all it does. It's a great thing. And if you haven't written a book but want to get into it, I would suggest writing a short story. Don't write a full book. Write a short story, 50 pages. 50 pages of story. Write that and think of a character. How I do it when I want to write a book, when I start writing a book, is I think of the character's name and then I just start writing. If I want it to be action, I will have it action. But if I want it to be anything else, well, it'll be something else. You just think of a name of the main character, you introduce him, and then you just let your imagination go wild. And if it takes more than 50 pages, well, okay. If it takes less than 50 pages, that's fine. And yeah, so just do that. Do that for me. Write a short story. And if you want, you can... Okay, people are outside playing. My brother's outside playing with a friend. And if you want, you can share that short story with me in my Discord. You go follow me there if you haven't seen me here already. But yeah, if you're watching this looking for writing advice, I haven't published anything. So don't... But what I do say is that I do know how to make the perfect book. I just can't do it because I'm too lazy and I don't have enough persistence to actually go with the one story and just keep doing that one thing. It's a problem, and I understand that problem, and so I'm not a perfect screenwriter. Plenty of people know what they have to do, they just can't. And they know they can't because it's a hard thing. But like I said, make a short story, maybe voice act it, put it on YouTube, let's see what people think. I find it easy to write horror stories just because basically I want you to make a short story, make it about anything, about anyone, and post it on my Discord and we can talk about it. You know what, I'll even make a short story. If this video gets like 2 or 3 likes, I'll make a short story and post it on that on my Discord for everyone to see. I don't know how I'll post it, maybe just a PDF that you can download or whatever, but yeah, I'll make a short story and I'll have you all write it. I might even make a video out of it talking about my short story and how I made it and why I made it, and also all kinds of different stuff. So if you did enjoy this video, please smack that like button, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye friends, for now.